And with it being halfway through the 2012 season, WWE storylines generally pick up around October or November because we're a few months away from WrestleMania. WrestleMania 29 is looking good this year with a potential Rock Cena rematch and a opponent for The Undertaker already slated to come in. But with the uncertainty of the Raw product right now, with everything that's going on with AJ, is Raw really going to have main events that are going to make you want to see an event like WrestleMania? Are you going to be relying on SmackDown for the first time in years to give you a good program for something like WrestleMania or SummerSlam or Survivor Series in 2013? I think that WWE needs to do something really quick before we get a lot of negative reviews, a lot of negative columns, a lot of negative radio show hosts jumping all over WWE. I think that WWE need to focus on creating new stars more than they need to focus on storylines right now, because it seems like WWE have storylines going on like they had in 2003, which are storylines that don't make any sense. We're seeing storylines start in WWE not being finished. We're seeing storylines just being put in place just for the sake of having a storyline, like Daniel Bryan. Someone explained to me how Daniel Bryan goes from main eventing pay-per-views with CM Punk for the title to a program with Kane that's going to lead to himself and Kane capturing the tag team championships from R-Truth and Kofi Kingston, with R-Truth and Kofi Kingston probably playing the heel characters in that program. How does Daniel Bryan go from main eventing a pay-per-view like Over the Limit this past May for the title to, being in a three-way with CM Punk, Kane, and Daniel Bryan, and Kane and Daniel Bryan aren't the ones who benefit from the three-way program with CM Punk. CM Punk gets the better of both of them with a victory over Kane. And now Daniel Bryan and Kane, the only thing they have going for them is anger management therapy and a potential title shot at R-Truth and Kofi Kingston at Night of Champions. I mean, honestly. There were several tag teams. We talked about, tag team wrestling and the evolution of it over the last 20 years here last week on the program. There are some potential number one contenders you can put in place and implement to challenge R-Truth and Kofi Kingston. You have the primetime players. Now you have this new team forming of Kane and Daniel Bryan with a bit of mutual respect coming from both Kane and Daniel Bryan due to anger management therapy and Dr. Shelby helping them both. I'm interested in finding out where that storyline goes, with all due respect. But people like Kane and Daniel Bryan are at the point in their careers where they should be receiving Intercontinental United States, WWE, and World title matches, not tag team title matches, because we've seen Kane hold the tag team titles with various tag team partners over the years, The Undertaker, The Big Show, to name a few, and several others. We've seen this kind of thing for The Big Show before, Kane before. So, do we really want to see it again? Would you much rather see someone like Kane, feuding for the WWE or World title at a pay-per-view like Night of Champions, rather than challenging for the tag team titles? Again, WWE seemed to be putting storylines together with people that were involved with AJ at some point for the purpose of giving them something to do rather than being occupied with anything that has anything to do with AJ. It seems like AJ's not only ruining her own career, but she's ruining the career of people who should be potentially challenging for titles, but because of involvement with AJ, their careers have reached a point of uncertainty, and some victims of that have been Daniel Bryan and Kane, and look at how CM Punk's career has been ruined. He's going up against The Rock potentially next year in Phoenix at the 2013 Royal Rumble. CM Punk was involved with AJ in a love triangle with Daniel Bryan and Kane, and now CM Punk is one of the most hated individuals in WWE, going from perhaps the most popular superstar on Raw to the most hated and most critically reviewed guy on social media. So do you really want to see superstars continue to fall victim to whatever AJ's disease is? Obviously, they're trying to market AJ now as a mentally unstable individual, which is, a great way if you want to add a bit of unpredictability to her character. But in the long run, do you want her looked at as a mentally unstable individual? Not only, here's the problem I have with it, not only is it ruining AJ's career and the potential of her character, but it's also making fun of mentally unstable individuals who are unfortunate of these circumstances that they have no control over. I think that WWE have made a habit of making fun of mentally challenged individuals over the years. You go back to 2004 when Nick Densmore played Eugene for several years in WWE. Yes, he got a tag team title run out of it with William Regal, but even with that, I think that they were still making a shot and making a beeline for mentally challenged individuals, and it seems like they're doing the same thing again, from Daniel Bryan attempting to have AJ legally committed, to having AJ go through, some kind of therapy for her condition, and WWE really emphasizing that there is something mentally wrong with AJ and continuing to do it several weeks after this becomes evident with her character. You would have thought after the Raw 1000 winning, they would have kind of killed the idea of AJ being a mentally unstable individual, and the Raw general manager role would allow her to overcome this obstacle in her character's life. But it seems like WWE continue to emphasize on the fact that there is something wrong with AJ, making her the most unpredictable Raw general manager of the last 10 years. Definitely we have seen some very influential Raw general managers over the last several years. We've seen Eric Bischoff for the first 4 years, from 2002 to 2006. Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon come in to run Raw for a short time. Then William Regal comes in to fill the void after WWE spent several years of searching for a Raw general manager after being unsuccessful. They appoint William Regal as the most powerful entity in the WWE. The Raw general manager role is given to him, and then eventually he wins the 2008 King of the Ring title, donning the role of the most powerful entity in the WWE. Shane and Stephanie McMahon come in for a short time to run Monday Night Raw. That was fun seeing them. We've seen several people come in with the opportunity to be a Raw general manager, and definitely out of every Raw general manager that has had the opportunity to don the role, and we've seen many of them, definitely I think that AJ is one of the most unpredictable characters you could have had as the Raw general manager, and one of the most fun to watch, because you never know what she's going to do from week in to week out. But as the weeks progress, I'm becoming more and more skeptical on whether or not this was actually a legitimate and good decision for WWE to make. Did they reach a point in AJ's career where they had nothing else for her to do? They realized that the Divas division needed her more than she needed the Divas division, so they realized, putting the Divas Championship on her is just too obvious. It's more obvious to put the title on her than it would be to put the title on someone like Caitlyn, who has been waiting and waiting in the shadows for a push, and I'm happy to see that program with Layla actually going somewhere and potentially continue to go in destinations that WWE probably never expected it to. It's more obvious to put the title on AJ than it is to put the title on someone like Natalya or Caitlyn. So we're going to make her be Raw General Manager. Nobody will see it coming. We'll have people talking about it on social media, from Facebook to Twitter to social media sites nobody's ever heard of. So we'll go with that. But I think now, with several months, passing by with AJ as the Raw General Manager, I think WWE are somewhat regretting having her be the Raw General Manager. Now, there have been several suggestions as to who could come in as a formidable replacement for AJ, which brings me to this week's poll for our show. Who do you think would be a formidable replacement if, in fact, AJ was replaced as the Raw General Manager? There was a rumor going around with Pat Patterson Appreciation Night next Monday in Montreal that he'll be given the role of Raw General Manager. He's never been Raw General Manager before, and with his history with Vince McMahon in the corporation era in 1998, 1999, in the late 1990s, that would be something interesting, because Pat Patterson has a tremendous, history with the business. He understands the business probably better than anybody you could give the role to, and he's been very influential in things like the Intercontinental Championship, winning the Intercontinental Championship back over 30 years ago, the very first Intercontinental Champion. That would be very effective, and I'm really looking forward to finding out how himself and The Miz, be it The Miz as the current Intercontinental Champion, interact with one another next Monday in Montreal. That would be a bit unexpected if Pat Patterson were to become the Raw General Manager. It would be a better General Manager than AJ, but would Pat Patterson be as unpredictable as AJ? That's the thing, and I think really that's what's keeping AJ alive, is the fact that she's unpredictable. She's definitely more unpredictable than someone like Pat Patterson is or ever could be. There have been several other suggestions thrown out throughout the internet and social media as to who could replace AJ, but right now I think WWE are, regretting having her as the general manager. I think they're going to keep her as the general manager for a little while longer, and then eventually someone's coming in to replace her. With the recent walkout of several superstars like CM Punk and Jack Swagger on Labor Day, and several superstars staying to support AJ, claiming to be the backbone of the WWE, The Miz and John Cena, to name a few. I think that this is really going to leave fans wondering what's going to be happening next. It's going to boost the ratings because this is really the second walkout we've seen in WWE over the last several months. A lot of frustration coming from the recent appointees as the Royal General Manager. I think this is going to keep people tuning in. As long as you have people tuning into your program and continuing to make it the number one longest running episodic television show in television history, with SmackDown being the number two longest running episodic television show in television history. Try saying that 3 times fast. That's really all that WWE as a corporation and an empire cares about. Once the fans start venturing away from that, let's say watching Ring of Honor Blu-rays or watching TNA, I think that that's when, a little bit of concern sets in, and they have to create newer storylines that are more appealing. That's when you see the legends coming back to benefit the new talented of stars to help create newer stars. But with a limited amount of legends guaranteed to come in, like The Rock, Triple H, The Undertaker, who on average wrestle once or twice a year maximum now, with the years of contributions they've left behind them in the wrestling industry, you kind of have to relate on your new talented of stars. So how to do that? You give your new talented